はい、皆さんおはようございます。がきおです。聞こえておりますでしょうか。ちょっとお待ちあれ。ちょっとお待ちあれよ。はい、聞こえてますかね。大丈夫ですかね。よいしょ。はい、聞こえてますかね。いやー。はい、皆さんおはようございます。今日は DAY58 ということで、今日もね、やっていきたいなというふうに思いますんで、よろしくお願いいたします。鼻かゆいな。朝から鼻かゆいわ。はい。よいしょ。いやー、今日火曜日、いつから木曜日からゴールデンウィークの人も多いんちゃうかなって思うんですけれども、いやー、ゴールデンウィーク来ますね。いよいよゴールデンなウィークが。今年はどうなんだろう。結構ね、皆さん休む人も多いのかな。まあね、どこも出かけれへんし、会社行くのもあれやし、やったら休もうかっていう人も多いんちゃうかなというふうに思うんですけども、学校のところの会社もね、もう推奨みたいにしてましたね。休んじゃえと。この機会だからどこも行けへんやろしと。まあね、会社なんだろうな、来ても大変じゃないですか。だから休める人は休んでいいよっていうのが来てましたけれども、学校の予定はね、前半、今週の金曜日は出ようかなと。で、後ろ休もうかなと思ってるんですよね。だから、休むんですけれども、どうしようかなってね、このガキチャレをどこでやっていこうかな。もちろんやっていくんですけれども、やば。来週か、もう来週の日程決めなあかんな。これまずいな。まずい。来週何時にやろうかな。だから来週はね、ちょっとイレギュラーな時間になるかもしれないですね。ちょっといつもと異なる時間でやらせてもらうかなと思ってるんですけれども、やばいな、もう今週からか、ゴールデンウィーク。やばい、あんま考えてなかったな。来週どうしようかな、ほんまに。時間何時にしようかなって感じですね。ある程度ね、楽器が別に決めちゃってもいいんですけれども、どうしようかな、ほんまに。ちょっとそれも考えていかなあかんな。はい。ということで、それは後々考えるといたしまして、はい。じゃあね、今からなんですけれども、例のごとく、ちょっと予習をね、していこうかなというふうに思います。予習教材は、これか。OK。はい。今予習教材出たかな？出ましたよ。おっちゃん。めちゃくちゃ落ちたおっちゃんの話、これね、今からします。Man passes っていうのかな？ Man passes driver's test after failing 157 times。 恐ろしいなと。おやすさん、恐ろしいおやすさんやなと。はい、じゃあ今日は、何するかというと、音読と、Read and Look Up。Read and Look Up っていうのは読んで、それを覚えて発話するってやつね。じゃあちょっと早速やっていきましょうか。で、音読は1点ね、25倍。スピードアップでやります。はい。で、ちょっとじゃあこのファーストパラグラフだけをやっていこうかなと思うんで、よろしくお願いします。theory test。これ学科試験ね。で、practical test。これが実技試験。ちょっとね、昨日ね、楽器はあんま喋れへんなーっていうのを言ってたんですけれども、今日はちょっと気合い入れていかなあかんなと思ってるんで、ここでしっかりね、口を回す練習しておこうかなというふうに思ってますので、よろしくお願いいたします。はい、じゃあ早速、お腹減ったな、これやばいな。最近毎朝菓子パン食ってたんですけども、ちょっとね、あんま菓子パンばっか食ってても菓子パンマンになっちゃうからな。ちょっと食いすぎは良くないと思いつつ、今日は止めました。おっしゃ、じゃあやっていきましょうか。早速。
Times. According to a report.
ここからね。いきます。
According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test cost. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test.
はい、という感じです。ちょっともう一回ね、これ読んでいきましょう。According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DBSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver's theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen on the driving test course to get his driver's license. The next step for the man is to pass the practical test. なるほどね。To get his driver's license. 彼がドライバーライセンスするために The next step for the man is ここまでが主語か。The next step for the man is この to こんな感じなのこれなんていうんやろ不定詞って言うんかな分からへんなこれなんでこんなここで to なんやろ The next step for the man is to pass the practical test. The next step もうこれも分からへんし覚えてますしかないねんなこういうのTo get his driver's license, the next step for the man. ここまでわかるよ。The next step for the man is to pass the practical test. The practical test. モーニングガキよ。モーニング大輔。ありがとう。To get his driver's license, the next step for the man. The next step for the man is to なんだ To pass the practical test. Okay.もう一回やっていこうか。
DVSA. One UK man has finally passed Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, driver's test after failing 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 500...
全然言えへん。ちょっとちゃんおだが気づく前に1倍でやろうとちょっとだけね1倍でやります。ちょっと口鳴らしちょっと口がね回らへんからなちょっと口を回すためによっしゃいくでーツイッターでやってんぞっていうの忘れたな。ちょっと一言言ってきますわ。野球はもうツイッターやっとうからな。ツイッター。ちょっとお待ち。やってますっていうのつぶやいてくね。引用ツイート。やってます。かっこいつもアナウンス忘れる。OK。ツイートできたのかなできたのこれ。OK。できました。Okay, もう一回続きね。According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver's theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, about 540,000 yen, on the driving test course. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. Okay, 頑張れ、このマンも。
passes driver's test after failing 157 times.
ちょっとここでやります。
According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test.
To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. Okay. ちょっと言えたから、もう一回じゃあスピード戻そうか。スピード戻すで。ということで 1.25 倍に戻します。ここから勝負の5回。勝負の5回っていうやつでやっていきましょう。じゃあ5回ね、やる。なんかね、目腫れてるよね、ここ。なんでやろう。下向いて寝とったからかな。なんかね、朝ね、電車乗る前に思ったんよ。なんか今日目腫れてるな気がして。まあいっか。目なんて腫れてもええわ。
7 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test.
Okay,
Based on DVSA.
いけたやろう。いけたっちゅうことにしといてくれ。じゃああと4回やろう。あと4回やって、次のステップに進みますと。ただね、この4回ね、いつも言うけど、ピタシといくって感じで、ちょっとね、このネイティブの人の発音にかぶせにかかります。
His driver's test after failing 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test.
早いな。後ろのとこが言えへんわ。The man spent a total. The 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 man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 500,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. はい、残り3回じゃあ行こうかっていう感じで行きます。
After failing 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test.
Okay. いいよ。悪くないから、ここのまま残り2回いきます。
Test after failing 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA,
もう一回言います。
after failing 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test.
Okay. もう一丁じゃあ最後ね。行って、ここは音読終了とさせてもらいます。一発じゃあ決めさせていただきますんでよろしくお願いいたします。いきます。
Today in human interest, man passes driver's test after failing 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, One UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of £3,600, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. Based on
ちょっと噛んだんで、ラストもう一度だけ挑戦させて、もう一度だけ。ここで決めます。
Today in human interest, man passes driver's test after failing 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of £3,600, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test costs. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test.
はい、ということでね、終えました。危ねえっていうかもうアウトを、ギリギリアウトをやったんやけど、まあ、ええか。ということで、行きましょうか。なんかいいな、なんなんやろな、最近なんか、虫刺されとるのかな、なんかダニとかいんのかな、俺のベッド。はい、ということでね、やります。はい、じゃあね、ここからリード&ルックアップ、見て、見んで言う、見て、見んで言う、見て、隠して言うか。見て、隠して言うやな。やすさん、おはようございます。ありがとうございます。Good morning. OK、じゃあ行きましょうか。出ましたよ。according to。めちゃくちゃ出てくるよね、この表現。これ嫌やな。Driving and Vehicle Standard Agency。こんな、教会何これこんなん覚えてないわ。3分やのにいつもの3分にちょっと長いな気持ちだからこいつが乗るから。あかん、でも時間ないからやるしかない。According to a report なんや。According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency or DVSA. Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency DVSA. One UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. 157 times. According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency, or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test. One UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. ここまでいこうか。そう、やすさん髪切ったんすよ。いつやろ、おとつい切りましたよ。ちょっとね、また刈り上げてもうた。またやってもうたな。これちょっとやりすぎ感あんねんけど、まあ、ちょっとね、ちょい刈り。本当はね、刈り上げへんつもりだったけど、なんか、せっかく髪切りに行ったら、なんかもったいなく感じて、なんか変な、ちょっとしか切らへんのもったいないと思って、がっつりいっちゃいましたね。もみあげ。According to a report from the Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency.According to a report from Driving and Vehicle Standards Agency or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. After failing 157 times.His driver theory test after failing 157 times. じゃあちょっとやっていきましょうか。According to a report from Driving and Vehicle Standard Agency or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times.Okay, いきました。The man spent a total of £3,600 or about 540,000 yen on the driving test course, on the driving test course, on the driving test course. A man, the man か、これ the man か、the man なんや。a man じゃないんや。The man spent a total of これがあれかもしれへんな。文法か。イディオムか。a total of っていうのが。a total of The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds, or about 540,000 yen, on the driving test course. 眠いな。眠いわ。朝は眠い。朝は眠い。朝は眠い日や。やばい。The man spent a total of The man spent a total of The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds or about 540,000 yen on the driving test course. もう一回いくで。The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds or 540 Japanese yen on the driving test course. もう一回いきます。The man spent a total of The man spent a total of The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds or about 540,000 yen on the driving test course. はい、いけましたということで、このままの勢いで最初の文もいくで。According to a report from Driving and Basic Standard Agency or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds or about 540,000 yen on the driving test course. イエーイいけたでしょいけた。こっからや。最後ね。To get his driver's license 買うために The next step for the man is to pass the practical test. To get his driver's license. The next step for the man. もう座が多い。たった3分に座何個あるか数えてみたいと思います。1、2、3、4、5、6。たった3分に6個も座いるそんな言ってもしゃあないんやろうけど、座多いね。座が多いと、座の練習しに来てんのかって感じぐらい座言わされてるわ。To get his driver's license. The next step for the man is to pass the practical test. 3連発最後。To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. もう一丁最後ね。もう一丁だけやります。もう一丁やると、何だっけ。To get his driver's license. To get his driver's license to get his driver's license. To get his driver's license. シシっぽく言うと To get his driver's license. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to get his driver's license. The next step for the man is to pass the practical test. イエーイ、いけたちゅうことで最初からやろうか。ちょっとちらっと見てね。いきます。カメラ見て言うよ。According to a report from Driving and Vehicle Standard Agency or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds or about 540,000 yen on the driving test course. ちょっとちらっと見たけど on the 多分 the あるよな on the driving test course. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. あとなんかちょっと自信なかった。いや、ほぼ合っとるってことで、もう一回してこれで確実に決めます。それで楽器を休憩入ります。いくで、一発で決めるで。According to a report from Driving and Vehicle Standard Agency or DVSA, one UK man has finally passed his driver theory test after failing 157 times. Oh my god. The man spent a total of 3,600 pounds or about 540,000 yen on the driving test course. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. Yeah! いけたっちゅうことや。いけましたよ。いけました。この表現使えそうやな。To get his driver's license. The next step for the man. 今日やったらね、これどう言ってたかっていうといつも。例えば、to get his driver's license. まあ、ここは言ってるかもな。To get his driver's license. What he needs is. とか言ってたな。What he needs is. 彼が必要とするものは to pass the practical test って言ってたかもしれないし What he needs is that he need to pass the practical test. need めっちゃ言ってるな。だからやっぱこういうふうにスマートに the next step とか言った方がいいかな。To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. かっこいいね。To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass. To get his driver's license, the next step for the man is to pass the practical test. はい、OK。ちゅうことで、こっからレッスン入るで。じゃあレッスンね、ドドーンと突入してまいります。ダーン！ワンクリック。あれ？楽器をクリック。レッスン、みんな大好きレッスンだ。誰だ？
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hi, Casey again.
Don't you want to see me anymore?
No way. I'm really glad to see you again, Casey.
What's up? How was your weekend?
Nothing much, but now my finger is a little getting better. So now I don't have any, the gives. Now just having, the supporter, but it's much more softer, so it's moving well.
It's much softer now. Okay,
Yeah.
good. You should take care.
Thanks.
Are you going to have a busy week at work this week?
Actually, yeah, Monday to Wednesday, I'm gonna have a busy week because, as you may know, we are going to have a golden week starting on Thursday.
Oh,
The golden week?
yeah,
It's a
that's
very big
right.
vacation in
Uh-huh.
Japan.
So
if
before the pandemic,
mm,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, so if I took Friday paid leave, maybe it's gonna be so long vacation. Yeah.
Do you plan to?
I'm gonna take paid leave the latter part. I'm there next week, Thursday and Friday. Yeah.
The week after.
Yeah, week after.
Not this week.
Not this week. Yeah, next week. But yeah, I'm gonna take paid leave. However, I don't have so much plan to do anything. I'm gonna do something plan.
Okay, have fun.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. For today, let me check. You'd like to use this one, right? The one with the driving test,
Yeah.
driver's license test. Or
Yeah.
something.
Casey, do you have a driver's license?
Yes, I do.
So how many times do you fail?
I didn't.
Wow.
0. Why did you assume that I failed?
You're a great tutor, that's why.
No, I didn't fail. Compared to Japan, based on what I heard from other students and from you from yesterday's, it's much easier here in the Philippines to get a driver's license, especially a long time ago during my time, because I've been driving so we can get our driver's license, we can apply for a driver's license at 18.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay,
but the student's license, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can apply for a student's license at 16. So I've been driving since I was 16 years old.
Oh, really? What's the student license?
A student's license is you can only drive for practice purposes with an instructor. And also you can drive, but there should be a licensed driver with you. You cannot drive alone if you have a student's license. You have to have someone with you, a companion. But your companion should be
Have a
licensed driver, an adult, yes.
I got it.
So there. How about you? If I remember correctly, you have a driver's license too, right?
Yeah, right. I have. In Japan,
But you don't drive.
Yeah, now in Tokyo, I don't have any chance to drive because in Tokyo we have a lot of train and the bus. So basically,
so convenient there.
Since I am still single, so I don't need to have a car. If I have kids, I need to have a car. Oh, so sad.
Akio-san, again, the first step is, of course, to find a girlfriend first.
Yeah.
That's your first step, okay?
My first step is still for. Okay, all right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And what would you like to discuss today?
Today I want to have driving.
Driving? Okay. So the first question is, should everyone learn how to drive? Why or why not?
Right. In my opinion, everyone don't need to learn how to drive because it depends on how they need to drive. I mean, as I said before, in Tokyo, for example, we have lots of train and we have a bus. So basically, if I am going to survive in Tokyo, we don't need to have any car. But on the other hand, for example, like a countryside in my hometown Kyoto, some of the area we don't have, the very, how do I say it? We have lots of the train, we have lots of the bus to the, countryside. So in that case, probably the, people need to have a driving license for drive. That's why my answer is not so everyone. It depends on how they need to drive. It depends on the place. Depends on the place where they are living.
Right. In the countryside, it makes much more sense to drive, for everyone to know how to drive, because the transportation isn't as complete as in the city.
Yeah, right. Casey, can you type?
Do your parents drive? Go ahead, sorry.
Can you type what you said? The countryside is not complete as much as...
Okay, so it makes much more sense for everyone to know how to drive in the countryside because their transportation isn't as complete as in the city.
It makes much more... What does it mean, the makes sense?
Okay, when something makes
sense. Does it make sense? Yes. Is that same meaning? Does it make sense?
Make sense means practical, like it's justifiable. Okay. Just something is justifiable, meaning the reasons you have for it match the situation or the problem. In this case, your answer is it depends on the place where the people live.
Yeah, right.
And that makes a lot of sense because, as we mentioned, public transportation isn't as complete in the countryside compared to the city. Okay? So you're emphasizing your basically the reason that you made, your answer makes sense because of the situation. It's correct, basically.
Okay, all right. It makes much more sense for everyone, to know how to drive in the countryside because their transportation isn't as much complete as in the city. I got it. Okay. Yeah.
So what you said, another. Okay, this one is a clear explanation. Basically, you have a clear meaning. When you make sense, what you said has a clear meaning. Okay.
Clear meaning. It makes much more sense. To know how.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you have a driver's license.
Yeah,
but you don't drive, right? Why do you do that? I mean, why still get a driver's license even if you don't drive?
Yes. This is because actually in Japan, if we're gonna take a driver's license, it means it's gonna take a lot of time.
The process is long.
Yes, process for taking a driver's license. Mainly, we have two types of taking a driver's license. One is a driving camp, driving license camp. Then another one is we're gonna transport to the school. For example, like every day or 2 times, 3 times per week, like this. But the first one, it's a driver's camp.
So a longer one and a shorter one.
Yeah, right. Even the shorter one, driver's camp, it means the morning to the night we are going to have a class, we are going to have a practical training. But even the shorter one in Japan, we need to spend your time. It's around 2 weeks. On the other hand, the longer one, for we're gonna go to the school, it's gonna take around 2 to 3 months. So it means most of Japanese people, they are going to take a driver's license during their student time. Because once graduate from the uni or school, they don't have such a time to take a driver's license. That's why, in my case, I also took my driver's license end of my university time. That's why, even now, I don't have any chance to drive. However, in near future, I might go to the countryside and I might have another job to need to have a driving.
Wow, you're preparing for the possible future.
Yeah, right,
where,
right.
Since it takes a lot of time, basically you're a Boy Scout.
Boy Scout.
Have you heard of that term? Boy Scout.
Boy Scout.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah. Boy Scout, right?
Yes, but when someone says that, oh, you're a Boy Scout, it doesn't mean like you're an actual scout. But when someone tells you you're a Boy Scout, it means you're always ready. So I think you're a Boy Scout for getting a driver's license, even though you don't have a car.
Yeah,
but you're thinking of the future already.
I'm a Boy Scout.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. And, well, I know some people who don't drive, but they still get a driver's license or apply for a driver's license because it's also a form of identification. It's an ID. Right?
Yeah, right.
It's a valid ID because it's a government ID.
Yeah, right. We can use a valid ID.
Right. Okay, before I move on to the next question, you said we have 2 types of taking driver's license. Can you read the better sentence, Gakio-san?
There are 2 ways of applying for a driver's license in Japan. We have 2 types of
and then you can say the 2 types. The driver's camp and the driving school. Something like that.
There are 2 ways of applying for a driving license. Yep.
Driver's license. Okay. Now, well, speaking of learning how to drive, who should teach people how to drive?
Who should teach people how to drive? In Japan, we're gonna learn how to drive from the instructor. It's a professional instructor.
It's required?
Yeah, it's required. Not from the parents.
Oh.
So we in Japan, to get a driver's license, we definitely have to go to the driver's school or driver's camp. I mean, the driver's camp also we have to go to the driver's school. It's just a driver's camp because we're gonna stay the whole 2 weeks with our friends or with batchmate. But anyway, we need to
Uh-huh.
go to the school. Then in that school, we have lots of the instructor. I think that they have also the license to teach how to drive. So in Japan, we now our generation we definitely need to learn how to drive from the instructor, not from the parents. I think my dad's age. I don't know, but probably even my dad's age, they have a license, then they should learn from the instructor.
Oh. So do you know anyone who learned how to drive from, because of their parents or friends, or none at all?
They can learn how to drive. However, it's not allowed to drive on the public road. Even the parent is riding beside of the people. So if they have a very own rent their house, it's might possible. However, to get their driver's license, they definitely have to take some school lesson from the instructor.
Right. Because it will be dangerous if they practice driving on public roads.
Yeah, right. That's right. How about in the Philippines? How did you run?
At first, the basics. Well, I was taught by my father, my dad.
Wow.
But just the basics: how to start, how to step on the gas. Actually, I know how to. Okay, there are two types of vehicles, mainly two types: the automatic and the manual type, right? I know how to drive both.
Oh.
And I learned how to drive in a manual car first.
Wow.
So I'm proud of that.
Wow. It's
So
cool.
yeah, the first car that I drove was a Mazda.
Matsuda?
Yeah, Mazda 323. It's a very old model, but it's really, really it's really strong. It's really durable and sturdy. And that's where I learned. Then I was enrolled to a driving school. I forgot how many hours or days, but it was just a few days. And then I took the driving tests, both written exam and a practical one. And then my father would accompany me while driving first. But it was a little hard, especially for the manual car, because of course it's manual. There are three pedals that you have to know. So, but eventually, yeah, I got the hang of it, and my mother trusted me enough that one day she said, "Okay, drive by yourself. You're already licensed. Try to drive by yourself."
Wow.
And yeah, that's it. I learned how to drive. So yeah, it was really cool.
Now I got
It's really useful.
I got the question.
Hi.
In the Philippines,
Sure.
which one is the common, the manual car or automatic car?
Actually, of course, there are more people now who drive automatic cars, but there are still many people who have, a lot of old cars, old models that are manuals and manual transmissions. So, yeah, I haven't driven a manual car in almost 2 years because we already sold that car. I felt a little sad because that's where I learned. But yeah, it's not practical to have two cars when you live by yourself. So I had to sell it. So now I'm driving an automatic car.
Now, actually, what I have is only the license for the automatic car. Because in Japan,
Oh,
yeah,
they're different?
yeah, it's a different.
Oh.
I think, we different license. No, probably it's a same license, but we need to take different practical and theory tests. So I choose the automatic one because in Japan, most of the car it's already moved to change to the automatic one. So if like older car or I don't know, some specific car for working for worker. I mean like a big dump, big jeepney or like something. I think they need to have a manual car, but like just riding how do I say? It's a usual purpose. We don't need to have any kind of manual car, manual license.
I see. In the Philippines, there's no distinction on there's no difference between a license. As long as you have a driver's license, the main difference is professional and non-professional. So if you regardless of being professional or not, you can drive both manual and automatic cars.
Wow.
Yes, so we don't have a separate license or a different license for manual cars. Okay. All right. By the way, it's automatic, okay? There's no automatic. The word automatical doesn't exist. It's automatic car.
Automatical
Do not
car.
make up words.
I want to have it. Automatical car. Automatic car. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Also, it might be possible. Okay. Now, last question. Do you think that driving is easy? Why or why not?
Now, my answer is that it's easy because I think compared with a long time ago, I think the driving system is getting easier. That's why the many people can drive. For example, it's a very good example is the before we, as you mentioned earlier, the people have to drive as a manual, right? So manual is like I don't know how to do the manual car, but now we get used to use the automatic car. It's very simple, right? So
right.
I think
So easy.
not so much difficult right now compared with before.
Okay. But to be honest, I feel smarter when I drive a manual car because not many women know how to drive manual cars.
Yeah.
And there's an extra paddle. There's an extra. It's called oh my gosh, gas, brake, and I forgot what it's called.
So one more.
But anyway,
one more pedal.
Yeah, the third pedal. Clutch. The clutch. That's the third pedal in a manual car. All right.
Okay.
So Gakio-san.
Yeah.
Shout out to tutor Angie. She's watching, and she also knows how to drive a manual car. Actually.
She also has it.
Yes.
Wow.
She knows how to drive both. Yeah, we're smart. All right. So today you learned the phrase "make sense," and also you're a Boy Scout. Okay, always ready. Can you also read the better sentences or phrase, please?
Better. There are two ways of applying for a driver's license. An automatic car.
And it might be possible, all right? And no problem for coherence and phonology. Actually, you did great in pronouncing your words today. Good job.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you for taking my class again. I will see you next week. You have a good week ahead, okay?
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care
Thank
of your
you.
finger. Bye.
See ya. はい、ということで終わりました。いやー、今日はね、ドライバーズライセンスについてお話をしました。なんやろね、この英語、昨日ね、英語喋れへんとか言ってて、ちょっとね、発狂しそうになったんですけど、今日はちょっと言えたかな。ちょっと簡単な表現しか使えてへんかったけども、ちょっと今日習った表現をね、ちょっと足していく。 アッドしながらちょっと難しい言葉も喋るようになりたいなっていうのは思いましたと。で、あとね、もう一ついいのは、なんだろうな、このレアジョブ英会話とかね、オンライン英会話ってその海外のね文化を知れるっていう意味ですごいいいなっていうのがなんか思ったところですね。今さっき例えばさ、ライセンス運転免許証の話してたと思うんですけれども、そのマニュアルとかオートマっていうんかな、そういうのって海外ももちろんあるんやと、そこは一緒なんやっていうのもようわからんかったけど知ったし、あとは何ですか、スチューデントライセンス16歳から取れるで、免許を持ってる人を横に乗せたら OK やっていうのがあるってこと、そんなんあるんや、日本ないっすよね。で、あとそもそも多分ねドライバーズスクールみたいにないと思う。なんかさっきちらっと言ってたけどちょっとあるんかな。でもそのお父さんに教えてもらったとか言ってはったよね。だからもう全然文化ちゃうなと。おとんに教えてもらって大丈夫なのかな。基礎的なことしか教えてもらってへんとか言ってたけども、なのでなんかそういったところでこう海外のね文化に触れれたりとか、海外の文化ちゃうくて何やろな、生活っていうところを知れたりっていうところでは非常にいいですよね。これ例えばガキをね10年前フィリピン行ってましたっていうのをよく言ってますけれども、その時って多分ねレアジョブとかあったんやろうけど使ってないし、そもそもそんなね有名じゃなかったからあれなんやけど、今こうやってね徐々にねオンライン会議とかも有名になってきて、オンライン英会話も有名になってきてるから、みんなこうやって使えるっていうのはそういったところのね文化とか向こうの生活っていうのを簡単に知るっていうのではいいかなとは思います。はい。でね、特にね今ねこうやってコロナになってて、ガキオが留学してた時と比べてね留学が行きにくくなっていると思うんですよ。でそれは逆も同じで、海外からの留学生っていうのも減ってるイコール、学生が海外と触れ合う機会、生の海外と触れ合う機会っていうのが極端に減っているのが去年、そして今年で、これはもう1年ぐらい学生が行くっていうのは結構難しいんちゃうかなと。だから早くて来年の後半ぐらいにならな、そういった勉強目的とかではなかなか行きにくいだろうなと。今からね新しくね、もし行ってる人は行けると思うけど、だからそういう人っていうのはなかなかね辛い世代ではあるんですけれども、こういったオンライン英会話で力を蓄えつつね、来たる時に行ってほしいなと。でもちろんね学生の時に行けるんが一番いいんですけれども、なかなかね行けへん人も今回こういったタイミングだからこそあったと思うんですけれども、別にそうなったとしても英語っていうこのねスキルさえ身につけとければ、社会人になってからね海外で活躍できる機会っていうのはいろんな会社であると思うんで、そこにね、備えてね、ちょっとなかなか苦しいタイミングでありますけれどもやっていっていただければなというふうに思っているガキオパイセンでございますと。はい、ということでね、じゃあ今日はこれで終えていきたいなというふうに思うんですけれども、ありがとうございます。皆さんね、ありがとうございます。帰宅してみます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。はい、皆さんね、おはようございましたということで、チャンネル登録者が140名いきました。ちょっとね最近ガキチャレしかね動画出せてなくて大変申し訳ないんですけれども、テンさんどうしようか。テンさん見てくれてるかな。テンさんもな忙しそうやしな最近な。ちょっとなゴールデンウィークどうしようか。ちょっとなんか企画考えないかんすね。逆にね時間あるからこそ、どうしようか。ガキの日常でも撮るか。日常撮っても面白いな。どうしようかな。ちょっとなんかね考えないかんな。ちょっと考えたいですね。もうね、DAY58 なんぼ8まで来てんのか。DAY58 まで来とるし、なんかな、やばいな。これ、覚えてますか皆さん。100日後、海外の YouTuber とのコラボ勝ち取ってますとか言ってるけど、大丈夫かな。全然そう考えてへん。でも、オンライン英会話、レアジョブ英会話こんだけやってるから、英語をオンラインで話すことには慣れてきてますね。もちろんそれそうなんやけど、慣れてきたからなんかいけるんちゃうかなと思う。ただじゃあ誰に声かけるんや、誰にあれするんやっていうと全然イメージないな。どうしようか。なんかね、なんか中国人とか韓国人の人の学教みたいなのおらんかな。英語やってる系学習系 YouTuber 探してみようか。 なんかそういう人とね、お互い英語勉強してる、どんな風にやってんのやっていう話をしてみたいですね。そういった回でもいいかな。ちょっとね、なんか手の届く YouTuber とやりたいよね。どんな人がいるんやろな。やっぱお腹減った。まずい、これまずい。まだ8時やで。食べてええんかな。やすさんめっちゃ覚えてますやん。そうそうそう。ジャスティンとね、今後ちょっとコラボしようって思ってて、ジャスティンカナダ住んでるんやろ。ちょっと来てくれやって、日本まで来いやっていうのを言ったろうかなと。やすさん、ごめんなさいね、ツッコミが下手で。ジャスティンとコラボできたらええよな。ピコ太郎ができたんやからガキ太郎もいけるんちゃうかっていうところでね。ピコピコガキ太郎、ガキをもなんかじゃあダンスとかやらなあかんかな。ダンスか歌かどっちかでジャスティンにちょっと取り上げてもらって、そっからやるか。ジャスティン・ビーバーとコラボになったらどうやろうな。登録者1万人増えるかな。日本に英語系 YouTuber おるぞと。やばいな。ジャスティン取り上げる要素ゼロちゃうか、それ。なんかちょっと考えなあかんな。ちょっとね、じゃあ、残り40日後かにジャスティンにアポイント取るために、残り40日間ね、英語の方頑張っていきたいと思います。まあ失礼ないようにね、ジャスティンとコミュニケーション取れるようにしたいなというふうに思うところで、今日は終えていきたいなというふうに思います。はい、それではね、今日もこんな感じで終了していきますんで、皆さんゴールデンウィーク前、お忙しいところもあるかなと思いますけれども、頑張ってやっていきましょう。目腫れてへんかな。あ、でも目治ったな。OK。じゃあね、今日はこんな感じで終了とさせていただきますんで、またね、明日7時お会いできればと思いますんで、よろしくお願いいたします。ほなね。